Will President Donald Trump ultimately forgive every single dollar of economic injury disaster loans that his administration practically coerced you, yes, you, my beloved viewers, America's small business owners over 30 million strong to take after he, as the 47th U.S. president and practically every single state governor and chief executive of government, local agencies nationwide forced you, yes, you, my beloved viewers, America's small business owners to shut their doors and stop your operations, while widely known publicly traded organizations such as Target, Walmart, Costco, BJ's, Home Depot, PetSmart were allowed to keep their doors open and sell every single product and service in their inventory under the guise of providing essential services and items. Absolutely. He must call for and command, because the Small Business Administration is in his cabinet, utter forgiveness of every single dollar of economic injury disaster loans. Why? Because while these organizations, you're about to jump on a ride with me. That's why I tell you, ride with me with every single bit of attention that you pay to this particular video and the other one to which I will link you. I'll let it pop up shortly. The largest wealth transfer. Learn how it's coming out of your pocket while they were continuing to grow. All these major organizations, the federal government, Federal Reserve, to be specific, to the tune of $120 billion on a monthly basis, were buying securities from these organizations in the form of corporate bonds. Who knows what else? Practically lending them billions to trillions of dollars, pennies on the dollar to be paid back. Now, I'll play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say they paid all that money back. I haven't looked at the complete documentation. Organizations did pay that back. Pennies on the dollar in terms of interest. That's all this money that the Federal Reserve was just pumping, right? To organizations that did not need it. Wow, they made us basically jump through all these hoops just to get the little funding that they were offering us. For instance, you saw the debacle with the $10,000 economic injury disaster loan grant. Congress intended for the full $10,000 to be distributed to every small business owner that qualified based on the criteria of being in operation during a certain time. It's 2019, yada, yada, yada. Go ahead, jump on the endless scroll of my YouTube library and you'll see every single detail, everything that we fought for. Then they came up with it under Donald Trump's watch. Remember, the SBA is part of the executive, the presidential candidate, so they have to do what he says. They decide to issue only $1,000 per employee. That's what I got. Being what the Small Business Administration refers to as a non-employer firm, because I work with teams, but they're outsourced. So they're not official W-2 employees. So I got $1,000. That's it. And most of you probably only got about 1,000, 2,000. Some of you have personally reported that you did get the full $10,000. You had over or equal to 10 employees working under you at the time and fulfill the rest of the criteria. And that's how we raise tens of millions of dollars for America's small business owners. Now, that's not even the half. You better ask somebody. That's why I tell you, join the waiting list to work with me so I can hold your hand to ensure that I can help you be in a place where you're sustainable, viable, always generating revenue, and you're not looking at your bank account with a negative sign next to it with numbers that are painted red. No, we are not going to do that. Not in this country. As I was telling you, they lent out all this money, right? This is the true essence of free money. You're looking for grants. This is the absolute best way of free money that these companies were able to generate through this system, because they lent out all this free money. They paid it back, of course, but with what money? All of that stimulus paper that they were issuing to you. Yes, you, my beloved viewers. Many of you unwisely potentially went out bought sneakers. Foot Locker showed record growth. I believe they were allowed to stay open. I don't know how keeping your feet from developing toe jam, buying sneakers are essential items, while a typical mom and pop store had to shut its doors. Jamaica was dead. All of these organizations shut down. You could not reach them. Nonetheless, like PetSmart, if you sold pet food or pet toys or whatever it is, and you were a regular mom and pop shop, you were not allowed to stay open. PetSmart, nonetheless, was open for business, just like BJ's, and they were able to sell not only their essential items, but their non-essential items. So was Target allowed, and so was Walmart allowed. So was Home Depot. Essential items. If you had a regular ragtag Home Depot type shop, a warehouse where you're providing construction material, whatever it is that you're doing, you were not allowed to continue operations. So they put you in a position where you had to tap into these sources of federal funding, the pandemic unemployment assistance program, the PPP, the economic injury disaster loan, stimulus checks. And listen, if you got forgiveness for your PPP, you use it on payroll. What do you use it for? Of course, to survive, to pay rent, to pay for these quote essential items, food, utilities, just to keep yourself sustainable, alive, providing for your families in this country. That's why there was such an onslaught of people that joined our channel. After I told you, listen, you want to qualify for all of the resources available in this country, publicly and privately, start your business, sell something, not for the sole reason of qualifying for grants. That's just something that you can tap when something like this comes into place. Because I had my small business, a number of you had your businesses in operation, you were able to tap into that money and you wisely deployed it into your organization, such as me. I already had a foundation with my online presence. I was simply vlogging about what my family was seeing whenever we travel, and we had pranks, and I had probably made a couple of bucks, about 11 grand or so off the channel itself, without talking about economic injury disaster loans and PPP and PUA and all of the acronyms that translated into the money that the government was issuing and putting into Americans' pockets just to survive, right? While these major organizations, you spent the money on them, they're taking the money, they're paying the government back at practically zero interest, the holders of all this free money. The market capitalization of many of these organizations doubled and tripled. Zoom tripled in capitalization. It was like at 16 point something dollars in December of 2019, and it was like at 66 or so billion dollars in December of 2020. A number of organizations, more than you can count. I think Netflix also doubled in market cap. All of these organizations enjoying every single government resource were allowed to thrive and double and continue to stack generational wealth on top of generational wealth to pay off their great grandkids' expenses with no issues whatsoever, while you're taking a look at your bank account. All right, these are organizations, and I could even tell you about what happened with Dan Gilbert, the dude who owned the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Started to pay off Hillary Clinton, saw that she was going to lose, and he started to pay off Donald Trump. Broke him off, $750,000 for his inauguration. He gets a $50 million deal to process economic injury disaster loans. Next thing you know, his company, Rocket Loans, goes public, and now he's among the richest people on the planet, on the Forbes top 100 or whatever, right? If you take a look at Amazon's donation activity through FEC filings, this does not come from biased news reports. They break off Democrats and Republicans alike along the line. That's why they get these benefits. To top it off, these organizations being publicly traded, all of these government officials, they're highly invested. If you take a look at their stock portfolio, they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now you see all of the funding that's going, for instance, to Ukraine, that you're seeing going to Israel, and all these countries that are fighting against each other, that are warring, right? For who knows what reason. It does not affect all of the problems that you encounter, the war that you face with financial difficulties, and yet they can't provide economic injury disaster loan forgiveness to ensure that the small business owner can unlock the American dream for his or hers loved ones and all the people that our true and living Father has assigned for you to serve. He absolutely must. And it is under his sole control because, as I told you, the Small Business Administration is in the executive's cabinet. That said, if you want to build your online presence, because I told you before, I was not among the people that was smart enough to invest in all of these organizations that dipped completely. A number of people were when the stock market utterly tanked upon the announcement of the emergency declaration of the pandemic. Then the Federal Reserve swoops in and starts to buy out all these corporate securities to ensure that there was a V-shaped recovery. I did not invest when all that stuff dipped. Nonetheless, I did have my YouTube channel, which is an asset that just keeps on and on and on and on. She went, understand? Because we have an asset that keeps paying back. I'm having people subscribe to our exclusive premium packages because I want to hold your hand to ensure that with the most precision as possible, you do everything you must to smash every single obstacle or financial issues that you encounter in this year and meet the objectives that you set for yourself just a couple of weeks ago in 2025. Join the waiting list. The link is in the video description below, and do everything you must, even if you don't, to establish your online presence, because Donald Trump, he swooped in, saved TikTok, and that's a potential win for small business owners because 7 million businesses have made over $15 billion on TikTok, reportedly. These are conservative numbers. Some numbers go to like $56 billion in contributions to the gross domestic product. So he saved them along that respect, and all the small business owners that are able to market their services and products by distributing their message of how they are shaping this planet and the space that we occupy into a better place. So forgive economic injury disaster loans. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and start to make noise just like we did through the pandemic. Remember, Marco Rubio's office got to my channel because together with other people who were vlogging on this platform, YouTube in particular, we were out there fighting and ensuring that you got the $10,000. They didn't give the full $10,000. Nonetheless, people, through the tips that I provided, go ahead and get in touch with your elected representative, just like I told you how I got the ball rolling with my account and my processing. We were able to secure that funding. And listen, as I've told you during the calls, we've spoken to a number of you. I applaud you for subscribing and registering to work with me throughout the next year to ensure that you meet your goals and do everything that you must to provide for your loved ones and everyone that you are assigned to serve. We shall work together to ensure that they forgive that, because we got Marco Rubio's office getting back to me. Neil, people are calling us left and right. Hundreds of people talking about that they saw your video. Rod told us to give you a shout out. Listen, this is the way it has to be done. Go ahead and contact your elected representatives. And I was even asking them. I can go ahead and show you the emails if you want. Also, watch the video, The Largest Wealth Transfer, how that money is coming out of your pocket, not from our fathers and mothers and great-grandfathers, where in some instances, because listen, I'm just like you. I came out without any platinum blunts in my mouth. I came from Jamaica, Queens, New York City. My pop wanted to take me out before I was born. Understand what I'm saying? And he even told me, listen, you can get your inheritance. That would be my wealth transfer, but I got to come out my pockets $25,000 and then split some real estate he's got locked up, and I don't even know what, with liens and everything, with the rest of my siblings. So that's my transfer. No, that's not the real wealth transfer. The real wealth transfer is coming out of you, yes, you, my beloved viewers, pockets into the elites. Elite socialism. Remember that term, because that is exactly what classifies what is happening in this day and age. Stay up. Watch the video you see on the screen right now so you can see exactly how they are taking money out of your pocket, out of everything that you are building to construct and do everything that you must with your generational wealth and transferring it to the elite